Working from home means every day is bring your kid to work day. And if you don't have the right tools and mindset to balance work and family responsibilities, you may end up throwing in the towel. Black Moth Radio gives you the upper hand in starting and managing your ideal lifestyle while creating your own business, doing what you do best, and doing it from home. So, grab the nearest ink pen and prepare to take notes, because this show is packed with discoveries, tips, and experiences to help you through your journey. Let's begin with our host, Robin Bull.
Hello everybody and welcome to Super Sunday. It's definitely been a while. This is the podcast where it's always bring your child to work day, or at the very least, bring your dog to work day. And my name is Robin Bull and I am joined as usual with my co-host and spouse, Danny Bull. So we have this, not a legitimate issue, I would say it's a first world issue as far as when we record the podcast. It's that I'm a loudmouth and he is not. So he pretty much has to sit right on top of the microphone in order for it to pick him up at a decent volume.
It's total bullshit, really, it is.
So, but we're going to work that out, right? We're going to work that out.
Sure.
Okay, so we're just going to jump right into some stuff here. So, what most people who aren't necessarily new to the show, most people would know that because I work from home and you're self-employed as well, we spend a lot of time together. Would you agree?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And not a trick question. I'm leading into the introduction for the next segment. Okay? I'm getting a look. Just so everybody knows, I'm getting a look. As any husband would be, he's looking for the trap. Would you say that we have a decent to good marriage?
Yes. Yes, I would.
Are you lying?
There's no lie detector.
Lie detectors aren't always admissible anyway. Most of the time, they're not. Like, you could do one, and they can consider it, but it doesn't come into, the evidentiary standards. So, the reason why I bring this up is because we're going to do a quick little segment that we did in the car that my husband, Danny Bull, tile layer extraordinaire, and I'm sure he's also tired, tile layer extraordinaire. We're going to do a little fun segment here, Danny Bull's relationship advice.
Oh, yay.
So how this started, just for people who are listening, this started because we drove our almost 17-year-old son out to his girlfriend's house to drop him off. From our house, it's a fairly long drive. And, girlfriend's dad was going to take him, and drop him off at work. So he had to be at work at 4:45. And, sometimes we get bored on the drive. And so we decided to get on Quora and read some various questions, which I sometimes do before the show anyway, because it helps us come up with ideas. But usually when we do it, we look at business, work at home stuff, whatever, right? Well, so I thought it would be fun instead to go back to the marriage and relationship advice. Before we totally get started, a little bit of a disclaimer. Neither one of us are marriage counselors. We are not relationship counselors. We are not licensed in our state. We are a married couple who gives, common sense advice.
Is that what we're calling my advice?
That's what we're calling our advice.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, ready? Question number 1. What should I do if I'm pregnant by my ex-lover? For the record, I am married.
Call Jerry Springer. Warren Povich. At least you'll get a free trip out of it. Of course, you apparently already had a free trip.
No,
oh, wait, that's a free
that's
ride.
a ride.
That's a free ride. My bad.
And-
I fucked that joke all up.
That's okay. Are you ready for the next one? You ready
Yeah.
for the next one?
Yeah, no, I'm not. But yeah.
For the record, he already knew what was coming. How do I tell my wife I'm no longer attracted to her?
Oh, you keep your damn mouth shut.
You want to tell everybody what you feel about people who say things like that to their spouse?
I'm trying to remember exactly how I put that one, but
I'll give you a keyword, and I think that will jog your memory. Shallow.
Oh, yeah. Consider maybe not being so shallow. Because, let's face it, at the point that you're no longer attracted to your wife, it's probably been some time.
He's probably getting old and fat, too. Let's just be honest.
Yeah. She's not attractive, you're not attractive. So you can both sit there and be ugly together.
And old.
And old.
But isn't that what you're supposed to do when you, promise to get old with someone?
Get old and ugly, yeah.
And fat.
Well, yeah.
And fat. Let's see here.
But the key word there is don't be a shallow prick.
And don't open your mouth and say anything. Just smile and nod.
Women don't like shallow pricks.
We don't. We don't.
In or out.
Okay, so...
That's a good joke.
It was. I was trying to find some questions that fit with your common theme of advice that you gave today in the car. So if everybody would just... Ooh, apparently there's new updates. So let's refresh the page. Hold on.
A lot of mine were...
Here you go. Ready?
Okay.
Okay. Should I give up on my marriage if my husband doesn't trust me? Go ahead and give your piece of advice that you gave in the car.
But that doesn't really fit here.
Oh, it'll fit with the second one.
Should it... Say it again. Should
You
I
can
give
do
up
both.
on my marriage?
You can do both. Let's start with the real answer, and then we'll move to the answer that we found fit most of the situations we read about in all of the relationship advice columns, right? Should I give up on marriage if my husband doesn't trust me? That's all it says. It doesn't give us any details. So
in that particular situation, yeah, you probably need to.
But, I don't see it telling us, how long it's been, what happened, none of that crap,
Yeah, but...
Okay, now tell everybody your general piece of advice.
No, it's gotta come with the right question.
Okay. What do I do to find a good wife, the right kind of wife to marry when I'm a multi-millionaire? You're not going to divorce me and go marry this dude, are you?
I might.
You don't have an answer for him?
Actually, yeah, I do. You can always be single. There's nothing wrong with it. Just stay single. It's obviously going to be too much trouble for you.
Can a husband leave his wife for another woman?
Can he? Yeah. I mean, it's within your capacity. Now, should you be the shallow prick that women don't like inside or out? Probably not.
And?
You could always be single, yes.
But I try to call it
You're
simple.
probably just going to be single at that rate. I mean, these kind of questions, it's real simple. You're probably going to be single.
Ooh, I got to the area that you really liked.
God.
Should I dump my girlfriend for sleeping with the guy she was dating while she knew my feelings about her in the first place? We started dating after she slept with him. So, boy likes girl, not with girl. Girl sleeps with someone else while not in a relationship with this boy. Boy gets pissed off about it after they're in a relationship.
Boy needs lobotomy.
I
Stop
feel-
being fucking stupid.
I feel that my girlfriend is cheating on me. How can I overcome this situation?
You can always be single. Then she won't cheat on you.
My best friend told me he loves me, but he has a girlfriend. What should I do?
Stay single. Obviously. You're already single, so just stay there.
So yeah, those were the kind of... Oh, here's a good one. Ready? And I want you to look over here at this guy's qualifications. Right there.
What?
You don't need to read his name because there can be some issues. Although it's a public forum, I don't want to write a line of getting in trouble, right? The dude's qualifications for this answer is abusive partner. But here's the question: what should I choose, my girlfriend or programming?
What? Ah.
Just for the record, programming can't give you a blowjob.
No, it can't, but what?
I know. It's awful. Okay, so you ready to move on?
Oh, God, please, yes.
Okay, so
I'm pretty sure I have cancer.
we read a story during the drive
Yeah,
about Jack Ma.
yeah.
For those who don't know, Jack Ma is the owner of Alibaba, and he is I believe, multi-billionaire with a B. And he is essentially referred to as the CEO of what China would consider Amazon. If you don't know what Alibaba is, if you've ever been on Wish.com, you have a general idea of what Alibaba is about, because it's pretty much the same sort of thing. Cheapskates like us import goods. Sometimes we don't get what we pay for. The sizing, you better know how to convert sizing from American to anything
You
else.
better enjoy that lead-based paint.
That's right. Yeah, we don't ever buy things like dog toys, anything that can go in somebody's mouth. We don't buy because they don't necessarily have the same standards that we
Yes,
have.
leave purchasing your ball gags to American-made people. Good God. Oh, damn it, I did not say that loud enough. Oh, well.
It'll be okay. So
It's the subliminal messages.
So Jack Ma was giving this. He just wants me to shut up. It's not happening. So Jack Ma gave this talk on what it takes to be successful, because if any of our listeners have watched the news or they read any of the news sites, especially the ones that have to do with business, everybody's about automation. And everybody talks about how all these jobs are going to be automated. And how our college students, our high school students, they should be trained to, be the people in charge of the computers and the robots. Danny's
All I
laughing.
can think of is, in my head, for decades, all I've heard is Mexicans coming over to take our jobs.
Now it's the robots.
Now it's going to be the robots.
The
Took
robots.
my job.
But,
Sorry.
it's true that most, people our parents' age, when they just got out of high school, it was easier for them to say, go to work for a manufacturing plant or something like that, and have the money immediately. Well, not that day, but, they could go buy a house. They could go support their family, whatever, right, without a college degree. And then there are all these college people, of course, who make stupid decisions about their majors and can't get a job.
And end up working in the same warehouse.
And they don't understand the concept of transferable skill or getting experience, right? Anyway, that's a subject for another time. I've worked for colleges. I get it. I know what causes that issue. Anyway, Jack Ma has this idea that the one skill you need to become a billionaire business owner, it's not your IQ, so it's not how smart you are, and it's not your EQ, so it's not how smart you are emotionally, where you can connect with other people. I suppose if you wanted to argue the issue, what I'm about to say still involves some EQ, emotions, right? Because in order to make someone feel like you care about them, you got to play on their emotions. He argues that you have to have a quotient called LQ for love. Basically, you got to make people feel like you love them, like you care what's happening to them. And if you can do that, that's the one thing robots aren't going to be able to do. And he thinks that's the reason why he's so successful. What do you think?
I don't see why not. I mean, my whole life I was always told to grow up and do what you love. So whenever you're doing things that you love to do, then you're going to inevitably kind of push that onto other people. So whether it be in customer base or, free as far as freelancing goes with your clients, as long as you love what you're doing, you're going to end up, probably getting a little bit more out of it, more clients, more money, because, there's the passion in there that's not in there whenever you're just flipping burgers and you hate your job.
Well, here's the deal, though. Like, you can love what you do. Like, you could do your passion. I promise you, on some days, it still feels like work. I know this. What it really comes down to is being concerned about the results that your client wants to get, and you being fully involved, not just for the money, but making sure that you really can go that extra mile to, make them feel like you give a damn, because that's really, at the base of it all, that's what people want. They want to feel like somebody gives a damn.
Right.
And, when your clients feel like you care about the project and the results, and maybe even a little bit of what's going on in their life, some of the old-fashioned principles of, hi, how are you today? Building that connection, it helps, because it is much easier to sell to clients that you already have that are established, and it's much cheaper for your business to do that than it is to turn around and go out and, get new clients and bring them on board and get them to trust you. It's way cheaper to sell to the people you already have. So that's why people keep going back to things like Alibaba or even Wish. It's, between the pricing. And you remember the one shipment I didn't get from Wish, they refunded my money. And they didn't care when it got there like 3 days later. And I'm like, hey, I got this, take your money. They didn't care. They're like, no, keep it.
Yeah, I remember.
So that's his idea behind the love quotient. You got to have the one thing that AI can't do. You got to, be able to connect with a human at an emotional level and make them feel like they're loved.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of people who are scared about losing their jobs really don't have a whole lot to worry about. There will be some things taken over by automation, but as far as customer-based jobs, they're not going to get taken over by machines.
You know what? Think of it this way. How many people, you get a call to talk to the bank, the power company, whatever, and you end up with an automated machine. How pissed off do you get and keep hitting 0 till you get a real person? I know I do that, because I don't want to talk to a machine.
Yeah, because it's faster to just tell a person what's going on than it is tell a machine that may not recognize what you're telling them. So
yeah, and I would much rather wait 10, 15 minutes on hold to talk to a person than I would a machine. I feel like a machine is fine for getting my balance or whatever, but that's not who I want to deal with if I have a problem. I need a person.
Right.
So, but the Jack in the Box by our house, they've had those automated machines forever where you can put your order, but most of the time it doesn't even work. You can't even get it to work.
They took it out last time I was there.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, they're done with it. It was just failed experiment because nobody wants to sit there and try and talk to a machine and try and get a machine to remember not to put pickles on their freaking sandwich. Because then they have nobody to be mad at if they get pickles.
Well, see, the thing is, just because it takes your order, that's not what's making your food. You still have a person making your food. So, I'm getting a look.
But you're ruining my point.
I'm sorry. I'm not trying to. Okay, so, moving on. Unless you have any other comments about that story.
No.
Okay. So, let's talk a little bit about work from home basics. Originally, I had this as how to know whether something is a scam. But I think past that, we should probably also, and I told you this a little while ago, focus on the difference between an online job and an online business opportunity. And this is especially helpful if you're new to wanting to work from home, if you're in the research phase, or if you're a member of 9 million Facebook groups that, promise you millions of dollars in riches from the comfort of your couch and pajamas. So, work from home jobs. A work from home job means that you can either have clients, like I do, or just one employer. People like American Express, Convergys, U-Haul, who else? Off the top of my head. Hertz, United Healthcare. There are more and more companies all the time that are hiring people to work at least to some degree from home. To be fair, a lot of them at this point are call center based. Some are not. But the big difference between a work from home job and a business opportunity is that with a business opportunity, you're going to be asked to pay something up front. That does not necessarily mean that it is a scam. What you're looking at, what you're paying rather, for a business opportunity is the overhead. So if you're paying something to start a business, you should be getting some materials, a website, or something. And that's Panda saying hello to everybody. Hey, get out of there. Back up. Okay, so that's primarily the difference. That is overhead. It gives you permission to use that company name to sell their products or sell their services. The thing to keep in mind with things like that is sometimes you're still required to purchase their services and pay a monthly fee to have those. It's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, why would you want to sell something if you're not using it? Because then you don't really know anything about it. So
you just kind of need to be careful with those, because some of those
do your homework.
Some of those pyramid schemes go off that same premise.
They do. And so it's important to do your homework. And I'll say this. We listened to Dave Ramsey. Dave Ramsey doesn't really have an issue with direct sales, provided that you're getting in with a reliable company, one that's been around, one that doesn't have a lot of complaints, things of that nature. And I don't always take online complaints extremely seriously. For me, it depends on the nature of the complaint. How many complaints do we have like that? Because people get pissed off, like when we went to Wayback Burger yesterday.
Yeah.
So we just had a Wayback Burger open near the house, and it's actually inside of the new Walmart that's near our house, and I was super excited. So we went with our 16-year-old son to Wayback Burger.
We didn't want to go to Walmart, but by God, they lured us in with a Wayback Burger.
They did, and so we ordered our food.
I hate Walmart, but Wayback Burger is awesome.
It was amazing, and so we ordered our food and we sat down, and I decided to get on Facebook to see if they were already accepting reviews or whatever. So I found them, and some asshole had given them a 1-star review because they weren't allowed to participate in a soft opening. They didn't give them a 1-star review because of service. It ended up being like a rules thing.
Yeah, because they worked for Walmart, and Walmart employees were not allowed to participate in the free samples.
At least that's what they thought. When I talked to the manager of that Wayback Burger, he said he knew about the review. He wasn't entirely sure what happened, but he also offered on the page to make it right with that person for them to come in and get free food.
Right. So, I mean, but that's a fairly childish
right.
That's also a reason I would expect from somebody who works at a freaking Walmart. That's the logic I expect.
They were butthurt.
Yeah, I don't expect a lot from people that work at Walmart. Especially not whenever it comes to common sense.
Yeah, no. So, that was pretty much it, though. That's why I don't always take online complaints completely seriously. I take them with a grain of salt. Like I said, for me, it depends on the number that I have of that stuff. But you got to do your homework with work at home business opportunities. And how do you know if a business opportunity is a scam? Well, if you have somebody, and I don't mean through the corporate website, right? But you have an individual, say, through Facebook Messenger, because I see people post these photos all the time. If you have an individual person asking you for your social security number, asking you for your credit card number, your bank routing information, whatever, just say no, walk away. Because if you're dealing with a legitimate business opportunity, first of all, they're not going to take your information there. they're going to direct you to a website that has a secure login that allows you to go through and fill all that out. Now, if you end up taking a work-from-home job, let's say with a business, the thing to keep in mind, at some point, they're going to ask you for your social because they want you to fill out a W-9. Because they want to, if you make more than $600, they have to send you tax paperwork, So they need that information at that point. If it looks too good to be true, it is. And I would say, as far as scams, the biggest one that I've seen is the email processing scam.
Oh, yeah.
It's what's funny to me is it's actually known online as EPS. Like, that's what they call the business, EPS. And essentially, you see these ads that say you get $25 for every email that you process. So 4 emails would be $100. Right.
Yeah.
So it sounds good. I mean, if you could process 8 emails a day, what these people aren't telling you is, so the startup fee, and I use suspicious quotation marks on that, is $25. Sounds good, right? I mean, that's a pretty low-cost business if you think about it to start. The problem is what you're doing is you're paying this other asshole $25 to be able to go into the groups and post the exact same ad to get other assholes to send you $25 for you to tell them to do the same thing. It's a scam. You're not actually processing email. If you want a real processing job, it's generally email triage, and it's just one of many responsibilities that you do as an online assistant. Because those jobs exist. I've seen them. But you have to go through legitimate websites like Upwork. Elance isn't a thing anymore, but Upwork's about the only one I use. So be careful with Craigslist with that shit.
I'm sure you might be able to find a legitimate one or two on LinkedIn, but
maybe.
But you're also going to find a lot of scammers on LinkedIn too.
I would say
LinkedIn's pretty good about making sure they don't do that, but
I use Indeed.com when I'm searching, not just for myself, but the jobs that I share to our Facebook fan page, which if you're looking for writing jobs, we post them more than once a week. You just go to facebook.com/therobinbull, hit like, and where it says following, do the drop down. Make sure that it says show first, or you won't see all of the jobs. You'll just get one every once in a while. But with Indeed, you can generally find stuff like that. But I would definitely be careful of Craigslist. You can find stuff like that on FlexJobs. And I get questions quite a bit about FlexJobs.com, whether or not it's legitimate since they charge you a fee to access their jobs database. The answer is yes. They are legitimate. The thing to keep in mind about them, what they're charging for every month, or you can pay quarterly, you can pay yearly, whatever, but what they're charging for, it's like a convenience fee. They go out and do all the work for you and curate these jobs, and all you have to do is go and apply. So, pretty good deal. Any other tips about work from home basics, whether or not things are a scam or the difference between a job and a business? Oh, the other thing is, if it is a job, as opposed to a work from home business. I am a business. When I've had assistants, they could pretty much work whatever hours they were comfortable working, except I needed to know what hours they were going to work, and I needed them to stick with those hours and not bounce around a whole hell of a lot. I mean, if they had different stuff during the day, kind of like how, we have a day where we got a kid that goes to therapy, so my hours are different on that day. So it was different if they had a situation like that, but for the most part, I needed them to be fairly consistent. So that's the other thing, if it is a job versus a business. When it's a job, you may get to choose your own hours, but you have to stick to it. They may, give you hours, though. Who knows?
Yeah, most likely they're going to give you the hours you're working.
Yeah. So, there's a fly in here.
There's a lot of flies. It's Oklahoma.
So, you ready to do some work at home tips?
Sure.
Small children.
Lock them in the closet.
No. That gets DHS called on you.
In the hamper.
No.
Oh.
They're not.
Dishwasher?
No.
Oh.
For those of you that may not know, my husband may have a little bit of PTSD because of the shit his older brother and sister did to him as a child while Mom was at work.
That's why she didn't leave me with them very often, but, you know.
Yeah, eventually you went to daycare. Like,
No,
No.
it was whenever she'd like, I gotta go to Braum's, just get a gallon of milk, and they'd be like, okay, hey Danny, wanna play hide and seek? Sure, and then they'd stick me in the hamper until she got back.
and we own my husband's childhood house now. The hamper is built into the wall.
Yeah, and the hamper is now filled with blankets and crap so that I can't be stuck in it anymore.
Well, for the record, I'm too little to pick you up and shove you in there.
Not really. I didn't.
I'm not?
You are too small to be doing that, but that's not why the hamper's filled with blankets. I think it's just because we don't have anywhere else to put dark.
Yeah, there's 5 of us total, you know.
Yeah, there's 5 of us total, and each person has 5 blankets to them that they get to have.
But you know, the oldest isn't at home anymore. He's 19, but we still have enough blankets for him too, just in case.
Plus, you know, we entertain. We have
Yes.
enough for house guests, so each of them get 5 blankets. So we have enough for 5 house guests, plus the 5 people that live here. The house is only a 3-bedroom house, but why in God's name I have 45 freaking comforters? I'll
You know
never
what?
know.
Our couch, which does not fold out, you know, so it's not like a sleeper couch, but our couch sleeps too.
Yeah, so does our chair. I have a really big chair.
We do.
It's very nice.
It's a great chair, except poor Crom with his dew claw, you know, because he won't let us cut it or even
Yeah.
file it, and he keeps getting stuck onto the chair like
Well,
a cat.
He's torn it up.
He has.
I'm going to have to find another big ass chair, and I don't want to do that.
Okay, so work at home tips with small children. So for me, it depends on how small your kid actually is. Like
Apparently, my advice is don't stick them in the closet, a hamper, or the dishwasher.
that is your advice, yes.
Okay, got it.
Also, no Velcro, duct tape, and NyQuil.
Well,
Although
shit.
one of-
All right, I'm going to be out on this conversation.
Although one of my best friends said, that's only illegal if you get caught. But we're just kidding. Don't do that. Don't do that. It's bad parenting. No. For me, it depends on how small your child is, how you're going to work the situation. So if you have a baby, it still depends on where they're at developmentally, your style of parenting. It depends on a lot of factors. I would say, though, and I know it's hard, especially if your baby is really, really little and still naps a whole hell of a lot. You're tired. You want to sleep when the baby sleeps. I say do that. Because if you're tired and you're trying to work on client files, it's not going to be good for anybody. You're going to be overly tired when the baby's awake. You're going to be frustrated. You're probably going to cry. And I don't mean just a little tear. I mean ugly cry. So, when's the last time you had a good ugly cry?
Josh died.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Those who don't know, I used to play in a band, and Josh was my drummer who passed away a few years back.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I made the ugly cry.
Yeah, well, rightfully
A lot.
so. Rightfully so. Rightfully so. But if you're a lot like me and you can do okay on fairly little sleep, even if you could just devote, say, you know, a couple of hours a day toward it, you know, that's a good time to start your research, start your business plan or whatever. And sorry, I got distracted. There was a bug on my desk. But you know, as your baby gets older and they're sleeping through the night a little bit more, I know that not all babies do. Our 16-year-old, he's almost 17. That boy did not sleep a night through till he was over 5 years old. Now, I'm pretty sure he still doesn't sleep the night through. It's just that at 16, he doesn't need his mother all the time. He's not above waking me up in the middle of the night, though. He's really not. You've seen it.
He's not above waking anybody up in the middle of the night.
You know what? At least he's still, like, super intact with the family, right?
Yes.
That's what I'm going with.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
But you can do it when you have a baby. There are just some things that you do. You know, you really have to look at your own schedule. There's no right or wrong schedule for you as a person. I didn't start, you know, working from home till our older two were teenagers. And the youngest was
3, 4.
4.
4.
When I was full time, he was 4.5, 5. You know, he was kind of right in there. Because I was still working at the law firm too.
Right.
So, when you have little kids though, let's say getting into stuff, age, like they're just I have a cousin, my cousin who lives in Florida. She has an 8-month-old little boy. This is her second child who is starting to walk. And he's getting into everything. Last week she had this thing of clothes, like this basket, and she would fold it. And it was like his sole mission in life to dump that shit in the floor.
Well, yeah, that's what kids do.
Yeah, they do.
It's fun.
For them.
I'm 36 years old. I still think it's fun to dump a freaking hamper of laundry into the floor.
But I would not feel bad yelling at you and telling you to clean that shit up either. 8-month-old, you yell at them, all they're going to do is cry. And then you're just going to be an asshole because you're yelling at a baby. That's why I don't yell at you. But anyway, but when they are mobile, but still babies, you still have to go with the idea of, scheduling your work when they're busy or playing. You could set up, and I haven't tested this, obviously. You could have a little play area for them where you work at the same time. Just keep in mind that you still have to keep an eye on what your kid is doing. So you got to know what's going on. You do. I've seen parents get really pissed off that their little child, who of course is getting into shit because that's the age they're at, they get pissed off when their kid spills something, breaks something, does something while they weren't paying attention. So you have to learn how to do both. And yeah, it makes you slower with what you're doing. But if you're working at home so you can be with your kid, you have to be with your kid. Otherwise, my thing is, work when they're napping. My older two, they didn't nap. And the youngest, he kind of quit napping, at least for me, when he was 3.5, 4 years old. So for me, it was just kind of a workaround of figuring out when they were content and doing some of my stuff then. Past that, it was doing it while they were asleep. And yes, I know you're tired. I went through it too.
Yeah, you're just gonna have to nut up and deal with it.
If you want to work from home, yeah.
Yeah.
As they get bigger, but they're potty trained, bigger. Find them things that they can do to help. Get them involved. Let them feel like they're helping you or working with you. Get them some file folders to play with and some paper and pen and even marker. The worst thing they're going to do is color on your wall or carpet. Seriously. And you should already know how to get that shit off the wall or out of the carpet. We have spot cleaner. The littlest, of course, isn't so bad about that sort of thing anymore.
Or do they have washable markers?
Brian, when I lived on base in Arkansas, drew all over the hall wall. Again, we lived on base. So that ended up being a nightmare because this was back when Magic Erasers first came out. He was 4. He's 19 now, as you know. I'm just saying it for those who are listening. It's a long time ago, right? 15 years? And the problem with Magic Erasers then had to do with the type of paint you had on your walls. And if you've ever lived in base housing, you know they cut corners. We had cheap paint.
Are you trying to say our U.S. government cuts corners, ma'am?
I decline to answer that question. Oh, but with that being said, we would use Magic Erasers to try to clean up the walls. Even with washable crayon, because I always bought the washable shit. It would take the paint off the walls. It was awful. So terrible.
Or it's just Magic Erasers are really good.
One of the two. So you still have to be ready to pay attention to what's going on, but you can still get them involved. And now, we've got one that's grown, one that's a junior in high school, and one in first grade. And so my work schedule, as you know, of course, revolves primarily around our first grader. My idea of perfect work hours is when he's in school, but I do have clients that want to do web conferencing a couple of times each week for updates. But they know very well that if it's not a school day, there could be a time where they see a sweet little face pop onto the camera because he wants mom's attention.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, they've already met the dogs through webcam, so,
Yeah, that's true.
you know. So that's really my best work from home tip for you is you really have to have a good idea of what your kids are into, when they're most content, or, otherwise you have to start pulling either some super early mornings or some really late nights. So, anything you'd like to add about the small children work from home? Anything you've observed over the last few years? For those who don't know, he's shaking his head no. I guess he thinks there's a webcam on him and that y'all can all see him.
I know the Soviets have a camera here somewhere. Where is it?
We watch an awful lot of Brickleberry on Netflix.
No, that just goes to my conspiracy theory thing. That's my conspiracy theory.
Would you like to share any new conspiracy theories that you
I
have?
don't really have any.
You don't want to tell anybody about what you told me about the Las Vegas stuff?
No, because that's just, it's all stupid.
Okay, well, Black Moth Radio would like to offer you your own conspiracy theory podcast once a week. Are you interested? The pay is shit, but
No, I don't think I come up with enough conspiracy theories every week. Although I probably
you
could if I
probably
looked at it.
could.
If I really looked into it, I probably could.
You
But
probably could.
at the same point, do I really want that hassle?
Okay, well, then we'll
The
move
Earth
on.
isn't flat.
Oh,
I don't
God.
think. I know that probably pissed some people off.
Do you want to tell everybody about the one that you heard about the
No.
boats that involved the
No,
boats?
I don't.
Well, I felt like if any of them had any merit, that one was probably the only one.
No,
I'm not saying it
has-
has merit. I'm just saying.
It has no merit. None. Nobody wants to look at the fact that if you get a larger telescope, you can see it. A larger telescope means it's going to be higher off the ground. Dumbass.
Just so anybody...
Here's our
Here's
dogs are
this?
licking each other.
Oh, no, it's not just that. At some point, Chrome's going to get pissed off and bark at her.
Oh, he's back over. He stopped it for now.
She's coming over there. So, yeah, you might want to get your dog there, honey, before the other one gets upset. So, yeah, as usual, not only are we where every day is bring your kid to work day, we're an office full of dogs, too. Literally. We are.
Yeah.
He sounds excited, doesn't he? Okay, so, let's...
Leave him alone.
Sticking with the work from home, most everyone...
I'm giving Chrome a rape whistle.
When I do the show, and I have a news... That reminds me of a news story for you.
The rape whistle does?
Yeah.
That's an awkward segue.
Well- We'll just go ahead and do that now, because otherwise I'm going to forget, and you'll probably forget to remind me.
Alright,
And
let's go.
inevitably someone will be listening and go, they didn't do the story that she was reminded of.
Yeah. He didn't talk about the rape whistle. I wanted to hear about the rape whistle.
Okay, so... Anyone who's listening to this, you can go on CNN or Fox News or Pandora leaves the dog alone. You can go on... She's got a face under the desk. You can go on any major news outlet and verify what I'm about to tell you. You could probably go on TMZ too if that's your thing. I don't know. You know the rapper Nelly? You know who he is though.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's not what you're playing in the van or whatever. We drive a minivan. We're covered in tattoos and we drive a minivan.
Condoms prevent minivans. That's all I'm saying.
But you know who he is, right?
Yes, I am aware of Nelly.
Okay, well, he was arrested for an allegation of rape.
Seriously?
Yeah,
Wow.
in a different town from where he was actually, according to the stories I read, and I say allegedly because he's not been convicted, and although I don't like rape, I don't like sexual harassment, sexual assault, domestic violence, none of that.
Right.
He's still innocent until proven guilty because that's the way our system works, right?
Right.
So it is alleged that he took this girl to a different town than what he was actually, I guess, staying in or playing in or whatever, performing in, and raped her. So he's actually been arrested on this. And you know as well as I do, you have to have at least some evidence in order for someone to be arrested.
Right.
So his lawyer, I read this on Twitter through a New York Times tweet, came out today and basically said that it was a giant setup. He did not rape this girl. And my first thought was, oh my god, but that's what all rapists say.
Right.
So that's what that reminded me of was, you know.
A rape whistle reminded you that Nellie was arrested for rape in a town next...
Rape whistle, rape.
Oh, yeah.
Word association.
Yeah. I mean...
So, anyway, I just thought I would tell you that. We'll have to, you know, keep an eye on the case because we don't know. I don't know if I'll be tasked by USA Herald to write about that. For those who don't know, I am the new legalist for USAHerald.com. Right? My first article there a couple of weeks ago, within 48 hours of its debut, had almost 20,000 views. So, you can just Google USAHerald.com space Robin space Bull. Then you'll be able to find me that way for that site and see what I'm talking about. I am working on another piece for them. But I had like...
Is it going to be the Nellie rape?
No.
Ah.
Had like 500 plus legal documents I had to read first, so... Anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that one.
That one's going to be fun.
But I don't want to give it away.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
be looking for that one. That one's going to be awesome.
that's going to be good, isn't it? You know, it's a question that I'm asked a lot. The next thing we're going to talk about by potential freelance writers. Writing samples. The thing about writing, like websites, magazines, even if you're on Upwork and someone just wants you to write some articles, one of the first things you're asked is for a link to writing samples. You know, your previous work. They don't care really if it's a portfolio, website references, whatever, right? So the problem is, though, it's like with any other job. You know, you gotta have experience to get experience. Nobody really wants to work with someone who doesn't know what the fuck they're doing, right? I realized that before I even started.
Oh, that one Quora question. That's what this is reminding me of.
Yeah. But I'm going just a little bit different route with it, like a legitimate route.
So I've got to reference this. So
Okay.
The Quora question, because I know everyone's like, what Quora question? We didn't actually go over it, but it was...
Well, I can't go over all of them. We'd fucking be here. Like, we would need, like, our own... And we could do it. Yeah. We have unlimited bandwidth. But we'd have to do, like, one show of nothing but Quora.
Anyway, so the question was, should I break up with this guy, or should I not date this guy because he is not as smart as me?
No, it was, should I break up with this, should I date this guy, comma, just because he's not as smart as me?
Now, this also brings me back to Walmart Smart, because the Shatner comma is not recognized by any actual...
Are you kidding me? I have friends that tag me in the Shatner comma on Facebook all the time.
Okay, yeah, but that's not a real legitimate writing form.
I think people would disagree with you.
Yeah, well, people are stupid. So it really made me question exactly how dumb is this guy? Like,
I don't even know that it was a dude. It could have been. I'm pretty sure it was a girl, but I don't know.
Yeah, well, I'm going off the premise
that's fine. You can go whatever you want.
It's a guy that's this person's asking about. So exactly how dumb is he? Like, I mean, because you obviously have no comprehension of the English, like, written language. So how dumb is he? That's the real question here, because you don't have a concept of writing or grammar.
Yeah, it
But
was horrible. I didn't even go through the answers on that one. But with this,
anyway, so we'll go back to what we were
That's
talking
okay.
about.
But with the question, because it's a question I get all the time, is
You get really, really stupid questions about writing samples asked to you, though.
But that question in particular isn't stupid, because unless you've worked in the areas where I've worked, specifically higher education, career services, it was my job in career services to help college students, both undergrad and graduate, take volunteer experience, personal experience, summer job experience, whatever they had, and make it appealing to employers, right? And so when I was actually teaching, though, I knew that was going to be an issue, because I had legal experience, higher education experience, insurance experience, management experience. That wasn't the issue. Subject knowledge is one thing, but being able to show people that I knew how to convey specific points or messages in a way that doesn't really matter the target audience, people could understand it, right? I had to find a way to prove that, because a lot of people, some will take a chance on somebody who doesn't necessarily have any experience, but a lot of people won't.
Well, no, yeah, I understand that. It's just...
So I had to come up with a way to show that I knew what I was doing, so that people would feel more comfortable taking that chance. So it ends up being, how do you end up with writing samples when you don't have any clients, you're not a professional writer? What do you do?
Write about something similar, but not exact to the writing job you're trying to get.
Well, I ended up with 3 different ways that I did it. I would either offer to write a very short sample piece, but I still wanted them to know in advance what I was capable of doing. So I had 2 different blogs at that time. One was for the college program that I was overseeing, where we talked about things like constitutional law and criminal defense. And the reason that was important is because I wanted to be able to show that I could take complex ideas, make it easy enough for pretty much anybody to at least grasp the general meaning if they took the time to read it.
Right.
And then the other one was, I had my personal blog at that time. I don't have that particular blog anymore, where I just picked 2 or 3 personal interests of mine, not opinion pieces, personal interests.
Yeah, keep it away from the opinions.
Yeah. And I wrote easy to understand 500 to 1,000 word pieces. And that's what I used. And then and how I came up with my ideas, there's a website and it's still in existence. I don't use it actively anymore. I'm not saying that you shouldn't. If you end up going viral and get, 20,000 views or whatever, you'd be okay. You just have to do that a lot, because they pay writers based on ad share revenue. But it's a legitimate website. I just don't use it anymore. But hubpages.com, and I would use that because I could go into the forums and read the different questions that people had about various subjects. And I'm really good at research. Otherwise, I wouldn't do what I do. And I just wrote little pieces based off that, too. That was the other thing I did. And it was free. It didn't take anything other than my time. And all I had to do was shoot out, links when people asked me for examples. And that's what I did up until I had actual writing samples.
Right.
So, if you're new to writing and you want to create some stuff, think about your target audience. Primarily now I do content development and creation, everything from coming up with titles to editorial calendars to the actual writing to SEO, the meta stuff, meta descriptions, all that good stuff. That's what I do most of the time. And so, that's my target audience. So those are things that I talk about. And one of my evergreen pieces actually has to do with how businesses can choose their own blog topics. So you think about your target market, the kind of things they want to know that they're interested in, why they would want to choose you. That's what you talk about on your blog. And again, you try to stay away from opinion pieces unless maybe you are looking to be a political writer of some sort or whatever. But I would still say keep that separate from your regular content.
I would stay away from it, period. Even if you're going to be an opinion, even if you're going for a political one, because a lot of...
I've seen some real train wrecks on Twitter lately.
Yeah.
I just stay out of it.
If you're going to... You always run the risk of you're going to not so much appease your potential client, but actually put them off. You will cause them to just, kind of shy, because you never know where somebody's line of being too far, not far enough is going to lie. So somewhere in the middle until you get the job is not going to kill you.
Or even how they would want it to be expressed. Because when someone begins to associate you with a particular brand or company, you have to be really careful to make sure that you're giving off the impression that that particular company wants, or else you can end up losing your job.
Exactly. So, plus I think a lot of people just...
And I'm not talking about being politically correct, though. I just want to say that out loud.
I'm talking about...
I've written about various problems on both sides of the fence, but the thing is, I stay away from name-calling, generalizations, shit like that, I stay away from that.
Yeah, I'm just saying the best way to do it is try and be more the moderate, not left or right. If you
want to be left or right, just make sure that you're not mudslinging. Don't call all liberals assholes or all conservatives dick bags. You know what I mean? Just try to be a reasonable human being for once.
I mean, your own political affiliation is going to come out out in your writing, whether you like it or not.
Oh yeah.
But if you try and stay more moderate about it, if you're the moderate left or you're the moderate right after it's done,
you're still going to get called names.
Well, you'll get called names by some, but you don't have to worry about, did I go too far for this particular client? This particular political client that I'm trying to get.
Yeah.
So
I would actually say if you have a specific company that you're trying to get in with to write those sorts of pieces, write something specifically for them.
That's always a good thing.
For a sample. Yeah. It doesn't even have to be that long. So. And then I had written on the agenda, we're going to focus on businesses this time instead of people who want to get into freelancing. How businesses can choose the right freelancer for their needs.
Check their political sites. No, I'm kidding.
Check their social media. My God.
Yeah, check their social media. Make
seriously,
sure they're not
I mean that. How many people have fucking lost jobs? I've written about that twice. It's published once on Lawyerist about social media, and then using social media to research potential new hires. Lawyerist.com. You can go there, or just go to lawyerist.com, space Robin Bull. Look it up. You'll see what I wrote about researching social media on your new hires, and then I wrote about social media and paralegals for howtobecomeaparalegal.com.
And what was the site the other day that I was looking at, like the 36 worst social media posts that cost people their jobs. One of them was like a lady got a job at a daycare. She's like, I'm so happy I got a new job, but I hate working with children.
I'm pretty sure I cited that on both of those other social media articles I did. Yeah.
But their boss commented on just left a comment on it that said, "Don't bother showing up for work tomorrow."
Seriously. And, the thing is, that lady had it set as public instead of just friends only or whatever. But here's the deal. Unless you have, a totally anonymous account with a name that nobody would recognize, you don't post any pictures of yourself where you can be identified. No identifying marks, right? Even if it's friends only, It's pretty safe to say not everybody on your follower or friends list is actually your friend. All it takes is a screenshot and an email, I swear to fucking God, for you to lose your job.
Yeah. Well, and then there was...
And I don't want to hear that my rights were violated, my privacy was violated. No, it wasn't. When you put it on a public forum, and that's what Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram, Ello, Tumblr, even if you have a private account, if you're if you're adding people, it's still considered public, unless it's something you sent as a private message to somebody. You're barking up the wrong tree with the privacy bullshit. Right. You really are. So that's, I guess, I'm sure I have it on this list, but yeah, make sure you check their social media. Look for them on social media. The first thing I would say to businesses, understand what it is that you're looking to accomplish. Know your ultimate goal. For instance, and I tend to translate everything to writing because that's what I do. So, but it really doesn't matter if you're looking for someone to develop an app or an assistant. It doesn't really matter. It still sort of all translates into the same thing. What is your ultimate goal? That's the first question. Make sure that, if you have a preference on how it is you and or your business meets that goal, you need to make sure the other person understands what is expected of them. So that's important. And I would say you could start small. You could start with a small test piece to make sure that both of you are on the same page and know what's going on. So understand your goal. Make sure you know how to properly communicate that, and don't expect the freelancer or small business owner that you're hiring, don't expect them to read your mind. We can't. Ultimately, it is your responsibility to express to us what it is you need done.
It's that way with everything. I mean, even with the kind of work I do, I hate when homeowners and clients are all of a sudden, I don't like that. Well, why didn't you say something before I finished it?
Yeah, especially when they knew what was going on.
Yeah, especially whenever, there have been times they pick out, I've been doing, I did a backyard kitchen. I was doing putting the rock up on somebody's kitchen in their backyard. And they decided they didn't like the rock. And I'm just like, oh my God. And they had this huge L-shaped bar that was 10 feet by 15 feet, and I had finished that, and I was doing the fireplace. I was 2/3 of the way done with that whenever they finally bothered to tell me they didn't like the rock that they picked. Oh, God. Because then at that point, my entire week was, week's worth of work was thrown out the window. I had to tear everything apart, tear it all back off so I could get the right rock so that they, take them. This time I took them back. I took them with me to the rocks company, made them pick out their rock that they wanted, which was 2 shades lighter, if I remember correctly. Instead of being a dark tan, they wanted light tan rock, which I don't understand. All of it looks tan, but
some people are specific. They know, but they don't say anything, and that's, another
and then
point
they got
we'll
mad
make.
at me because I sat there and I charged them for the week before of the crap that they didn't bother to tell me for a week that they didn't like.
Yeah. So you're going to love the second point.
I call that my PETA charge, by the way.
PETA is short for?
Pain in the ass.
That's right. So here's the next point, and I know you're going to love this. Please know your budget for what you're wanting done, and make sure that it's reasonable. Now, from my perspective, businesses, yes, and I hear this all the freaking time. Oh, wow, you're really expensive. I'm going to choose somebody else. Well, okay, that's your right. Good luck to you, because I'm not going to chase anybody down. I'm just not. But the thing is, and Danny can vouch for this, a month or two will go by, and then I'll show him a message or an email that says, well, I hired someone else and they really fucked it up. Can you fix it?
I'll pay your rate.
Yeah. So
save yourself some money had you just gone with the little bit more expensive person at the time.
When it comes to writing, graphic design, app development, whatever, right? It really does pay. Like, I get if you really do have a super limited budget. I do. I get it. Totally get it. But at the same time, if you're wanting a certain level of quality, you have to understand that you have to budget for that, because those of us who are in those areas and are considered experts, we have bills. We have light bills. We have kids that eat a lot.
We have an internet bill so that we can continue to email you.
Right. Like, there are things that are going. But some things to think about: if you don't know what a reasonable fee is for something, do a little bit of research. First of all, think about whether you want to pay someone an hourly rate or if you want to do a flat rate. And if you don't know what to pay, you could do some research. Again, translating it back to being a writer/editor. If you need a book edited and you don't know what someone should charge you, go to the EFA's website. It's a freelance association for editors, and they have a really good chart that breaks down the average of what people charge. And you may find that you pay a little more or a little less, but it still at least gives you a general idea based on someone's experience of what you should be charged. Because people like me, I can't take $1.60 an hour.
Well, it's like, say you wreck your car. Your insurance, their insurance company is going to pay for it. They always ask you for 3 estimates.
Mm-hmm.
And they always go with the lowest, they always go with the lowest one first. But, that's...
But they still look at whether or not it's reasonable.
Yeah, they always go with 3 estimates, So essentially you want to try and be the insurance company. You want to look for the 3, you want to get 3 estimates. Should you go for the lowest one, you get what you pay for. And if you want crap, you're going to pay for crap.
And this is important, and here's why. I have fixed shit for so many people who hired someone in another country because it was cheaper. They thought they had good rapport. They thought these people spoke great English. And I have met some people who English is not their native language, and they speak and write English better than a lot of people I know. So I am not discounting that. If you find someone like that who is in a different country and they can afford cheaper rates, go for it. But the issue is you don't know for sure. You don't. Because I've had people send me books going, oh my God, I hired this editor or this writer even, and basically what this person did, the freelancer, they took the information and ran it through Google Translate. And I had to go back and fix it. And I charged them.
Yeah.
So they ended up paying twice.
And home construction, a lot of what I've done and I've seen happen is somebody will go with the cheaper bid. Well, you just kind of go behind them if you're working there. If you're working in the neighborhood too. And they say, oh, well, this guy did it for $100. Oh, well, here's my card. Whenever it falls apart here in about 6-8 months, give me a call. I'll come by and fix it.
Yeah.
And I've been right about 85-90% of the time whenever I do that. But, of course, they get mad because, what should have been a $600 project they got for $200 now ends up costing them
a lot more.
Almost $1,000, because now I've got to tear their crap out. I've got to fix everything they screwed up, and then I've got to redo it.
Yeah.
So.
And that actually kind of even leads into the next one. You need to know, as the business owner, what you're going to provide and what you expect your remote worker to provide. If you need someone who does InDesign, which is an Adobe program for anyone who doesn't know, you need to make sure that you're hiring someone who has access to that program and that they're not expecting you to provide it for them. But that goes the same with anything. You got to make sure that whoever you're hiring has whatever it is you're needing to get to your final result. So, there's that. Communication. Make sure that you have good communication. You need to be clear. It needs to be open. Again, make sure whatever language it is that you communicate with your target audience in, make sure your remote worker is fluent. It doesn't have to be their native language. I don't care about that as long as they're able to do the job in such a way that you don't have to hire someone else to go behind them and fix it, because it doesn't matter if it's verbal or written. There is a huge potential for miscommunication. And you need to make sure that you hire someone that you're comfortable talking to or emailing with, and that they're responsive. Communication really is the key to whether or not your project will be successful. Kind of like your whole, I wanted tan rock. No, not that tan.
Yeah.
If you're hiring through, well, it doesn't matter if you're hiring through a platform or not, but I started to see that. Regardless, make sure that you're on the same page about hours per day or per week or anything, or even if you care. I do a lot of flat rate work, and I talk to clients about it because they don't have to worry about how many hours I work. They're going to pay me the same fee, regardless. Doesn't matter if I worked 30 minutes or 30 hours. I'm going to get the same rate, period. And there are situations, though, where people will just, if they're hourly, they will try to run the bill up on you if you're not paying attention. Not everybody. So if you're going to hire hourly, make sure that you're on the same page with them. How many hours per day, week, month, whatever, can they work? Like, what's the maximum? And more importantly, have a general idea of what a reasonable number of hours to complete the project would be. And talk to them about business hours. When can they be available for you to talk to through phone or email or, Google Hangout, Skype, whatever? And are they going to charge you extra for that time if they're hourly? Those are important things to know.
Yeah, and whenever you're looking up the expected hours of completion, if you're going with somebody who's got the cheaper rate, don't expect them to get it done as quickly, because chances are, now let's say the person at cheaper rate is just as good as the other person that you're thinking about going with, but they're just offering it for a few dollars cheaper. Chances are you're one of 5 that they've got, as compared to the other guy who's probably just going to have you. So don't expect the cheaper guy to get it done as quick as the guy you're going to end up paying more money. So, you got to take a lot of things in consideration. With more money means you get more of their time.
Yeah, you got to pay attention, but even that, all of it goes back to communication. Know who you're dealing with. I would say to businesses, try to get that person on the phone. If that's not possible because you are hiring someone from overseas, and I know how expensive overseas phone calls can be. I'm not doubting that. Aim for Skype. Aim for something where you can talk to them and ascertain whether or not you really are making the best decision. Because ultimately, we're talking about your money here. And not just the money that you're spending on that project, but the money that the outcome of the project could bring into your business. That's really what we're looking at. So, that's all I had for tonight. Do you have anything you'd like to add? Any final thoughts?
You could always be single.
Just for the record, I don't think he wants to be single. That's just
hell no.
That's just his default answer. I just don't want certain creepers to think that there's some sort of problem.
No, that's my advice to anybody who has a problem with the
relationship questions that we read about earlier, because some of them were doozies.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you're looking for a good time, get on Quora and go under life and living advice, marriage advice, relationship advice.
Yeah,
they even have a friend zone advice.
I know.
It's great.
We didn't get to those, did we?
No.
Yeah.
But it's great.
Yeah,
it was the whole thing. So, well, that's really all we have for today. You can find me on Twitter, twitter.com/therobinbull. You can Find me on Facebook, facebook.com/therobinbull. Oh, confessionsfromthecouch.com. Would you like to tell people what we started there every week?
Oh yeah, our meal planning.
It is a meal plan, but
Yeah,
we also
it's
give you legitimate reviews of these recipes from these bigger named
Yeah.
mommy sites, for lack of a better word, mommy
Yeah.
bloggers. So yeah.
Yeah, so far the recipes haven't been too bad.
The first one is live. The first week is live for that. We will be publishing those generally on a Wednesday evening because our week kind of has a strange beginning / end as far as when we do our grocery shopping and stuff. So make sure that you go to confessionsfromthecouch.com and scroll to the bottom of the page, hit subscribe, and join the more than 1,400 other people who enjoy my nonsense.
Yeah, and if you do have a work-at-home confessional that you like to, make, normally they're just really funny stories.
We do them anonymously. You're not going to be outed. Don't worry. And there's a link for that at the top.
And one of my favorites was the when you're trying to get work done and your significant other is sitting there telling bad dad jokes.
Yeah.
That's great.
It was fantastic. And again, those are published anonymously, so don't worry too much about that. And I just got dive-bombed in the face by a moth. Okay, well that's it. So I guess
because of your glow.
Like the dude who did the plastic surgery, who now spends like $500 a month to maintain his youthful glow.
We're not.
He doesn't want to talk about that.
No,
so.
Not at all.
Well, everyone, make sure that you join us next week. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or hate mail, send it to me through Twitter or Facebook. Both are .com/therobinbull. I will say one thing about the hate mail, though. I really, really love it. I will read it live on the air and probably verbally destroy you. So, everybody, have a great week.
Hopefully, you're walking away from this podcast with a plan to implement the tips you've heard, a great attitude, and you subscribe to Black Moth Radio to ensure that you never miss any of the goods. Whether you're a hopeful work-from-home freelancer or you're well settled into your work-from-home lifestyle, we hope you've learned something that you can use. If you're ready to know more about the work-from-home lifestyle, check out sellfy.com/therobinbull. Questions, comments? Let Robin know by going to facebook.com/therobinbull or confessionsfromthecouch.com. Thanks for listening. Join us next time and keep learning.